Welcome, everyone. We took a little break in July, so hopefully you gained yourself back an hour and a half last month. Today we have a presentation from our peer network. As you know, we've been going through and having presentations on the opioid epidemic, and we've had a series of speakers come in, and then today the peers from two of our local peer groups will be speaking. First, we have to do a couple of business things, so we'll go around the room and introduce ourselves. So my name's Kiki Parker-Rose. I'm the Community Justice Director, and I have the opportunity to serve as the PSEC Chair.
Tiffany Atkinson, Peer Support Department Manager for the Pathfinder Network.
Stephanie Mendenhall, Executive Director and Founder of Reclaiming Lives Recovery Cafe in Medford.
Jennifer Malenik, Executive Director of CASA of Jackson and Josephine Counties.
Randy Sparacino, Mayor of the City of Medford.
Rick Dyer, County Commissioner.
Trevor Arnold, Deputy Chief of Police, Medford PD, filling in for Justin Ivins.
Michael Benson, State Police.
Travis Christian, Vice President of Reconstruction, Citizen Member.
Josh Aldrich, I am a captain of the Sheriff's Office. I'm the jail commander, and I am the vice chair. I couldn't remember what the name was.
Jason Peterson, Emergency Manager, VA Source, White City.
Brian Hanson, Peer Delivery Services Manager with Jackson County Mental Health.
Bobby Devine, Deputy Director of Juvenile Services.
Tira Hubbard, Deputy Director of Adult Services.
Misty Jacob, Conflict Resolution Specialist at Resolve.
Okay, sure. And Marcy, you wanted to go over
this one? Yes.
Rita, can you introduce yourself, please?
Rita Sullivan, Psychologist, Citizen Member.
Thank you. And Beth?
Beth Becker, District Attorney.
Stacy?
Stacy Brubaker, Department Director for Health and Human Services, Jackson County.
And Jennifer?
Jennifer Lynn, CEO of Jackson Care Connect.
And Leticia?
Hi, Leticia Longmore Navarro. I'm the Executive Director of the Pathfinder Network.
Great, welcome everyone. We have to do a couple,
Well, actually, I don't think we have a quorum, so we'll push off our meeting minutes from June. Wanted to just let y'all know that Jennifer Lind was reappointed as a Public Safety Coordinating Council member by the Board of Commissioners. So thank you, Jennifer, for continuing to participate. And then I'm going to go over the JRP funding. It says vote required, but as we look at the fine print in the CJC, it just says we have to review this with you. So this morning we sent out some documents that were part of our Justice Reinvestment Program semi-annual reporting, and those documents outlined that we fund the Pathfinder Network. There were some numbers attached to that for the last 6 months, as well as the Voices of Lived Experience, our transitional care program, and our newest program, which was originally going to be called the Coordinated Care Housing and Reentry Jail Program. It's now called the Jail Reentry. Yeah, it's the JERP program. We also did a report out on our 416, which is where we work closely with the District Attorney's Office to identify drug, property, and driving crimes and try to divert those into the community if it's safe to do so. So I sent those out. I hope that you had enough time to review them. I don't know. I'm not asking for a vote, so what I would like to do is just say if you have any concerns or questions about those, if you could just email me, and then once if you could do it within the next week, and once I receive that, then I'll just let CJC know that I've done an overview with you of those stats, giving you the detail of what we reported out, and then we're good to go on our semi-annual reporting. Does anyone have concerns about that process? Perfect. Clint, thank you for coming. We now have a quorum.
Sorry.
Sheriff's on.
And the sheriff's on too.
Oh, and the sheriff's on. Okay, great. So I would entertain first of all, we sent out the meeting minutes from June. Anyone have any changes or modifications? I would entertain a motion for approval.
Move approval is presented. Second.
Okay. All right, any comment? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye, and those on Zoom, just raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay. Nays? All right. That has passed. Thank you. So again, I just wanted to, I have one more thing, sorry, this is a late add-on. Criminal Justice Commission just sent out an email. They want to do a survey of the Public Safety Coordinating Council members. And this is a collaboration project, which is a joint effort between Syracuse University and Portland State University to study collaboration amongst PSCCs in Oregon. I just wanted to let you know that we're going to send that out, but if you choose to do it, great. If you choose not to, great. There's no obligation. We've just been asked to get that out to folks. So if you see it, great. I have no other information other than what I just provided you. So, okay, and with that, super excited to have our peers present today. As you just heard me say, our Justice Reinvestment Program funds the Pathfinder Network, and then Community Justice just entered into an agreement with Reclaiming Lives for peer services, but they're not just for peer services with Community Justice, they're throughout the community. And so Leticia is online and she'll be presenting, as well as Tiffany Atkinson, and they're from the Pathfinder Network. And then Stephanie Mendenhall will follow up with Reclaiming Lives. So let's want to present and you can practice with it.
All right, let's see. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you, Kiki. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having us here today. I always love getting to talk about peer support services. They're something near and dear to my heart, something I wish was around when I was in the process of trying to figure out how to navigate the criminal justice system, navigate my substance use disorder, get reunited with my kids, all the things. I just feel absolutely honored to be a part of something like this in our community. My name is Tiffany Atkinson. I'm the Peer Support Department Manager for the Pathfinder Network's Resilience and Recovery Project. We are not only located here and provide peer support services here, but we also provide them in Marion and Multnomah County. We've been able to expand over the last few years, and it's really exciting.
No, just keep talking.
I'm already freaking out. I get so weird. It's crazy. I was just talking to Stephanie. I'm like, this is kind of, I can talk one-on-one all day, but when I get in a podium, because I'm like 5 feet tall and it's basically at my eye level. So thank you, Marcy and Ryan, for getting the slides up. So here are some pictures just of us being in community with other people. There's one of our mobile outreach vehicles. There's some pictures of us at all staff huddles, our staff at events, so on and so forth. And I'm going to kick it over to Leticia actually to get us started.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tiffany, for getting us kicked off. And thank you so much for accommodating me being able to present virtually. So like I said, Leticia Longoria-Navarro, I'm the Executive Director of the Pathfinder Network. I'm really glad to be collaborating with your community. You can move the slide with me. That's my favorite part of presenting this slide. Advance the slide.
We're having some, there it goes.
There we go. So just to give you an overview of the Pathfinder Network, if you have not heard about us before, we're a 31-year-old statewide nonprofit with a mission to provide justice system impacted individuals and families tools and support to be safe and thrive in our communities. We have over 20 programs in 19 different locations with about 30 different partners across the state. We're really proud to partner with Jackson County Community Justice and Jackson Care Connect and providing peer support services there in Jackson County. Go ahead, Tiffany. So we wanted to start just talking about what peer support means to us. It's such an incredible growing profession. And everyone, I think, looks at it and describes and delivers services differently within the peer realm. But to us, it's just a range of activities that are really supporting individuals that are a part of different systems. And for us, we serve individuals that are involved in the criminal justice system. So when we talk about the peer relationship, it's really a relationship that's defined by connection and inspiring hope. The peer support relationship is really unique in that it provides a level of acceptance, understanding, and validation that is not really like any other relationship that individuals may have as a part of being in systems. And peers, with sharing their lived experience and also practical guidance, help individuals to develop goals, create strategies for their self-empowerment, take steps towards building change in their life and creating futures and that are positive and self-determined lives for themselves. When we think about the role that peers play in services and systems, it's very unique and I think also special because peer support professionals bring their individual experience, their knowledge, their experience of systems, and what it's like to be in them before, during, and after their involvement. It helps support people in increasing motivation and making progress towards recovery, healing, and again, self-determined lives. And by sharing that vital experience, it really helps create powerful change. And I think, one of the pieces that continues to just be inspirational for me is the example that is provided of what is possible, as well as the powerful connection, hope, and using the faith-based approach and really lift up, how our peers are, we like to talk about as them being experientially credentialed by their own journeys and experiences and recoveries as well. So this slide has a ton of bullet points, but we really just wanted to demonstrate that peer support does a lot. It can be one-to-one coaching and support, group-based intervention, resource navigation, referrals, transportation to appointments, providing hope and inspiration, breaking down barriers, just connection to other resources and supports in the community, events, collaborating with systems partners to support participants, but also participating in discussions about systems change initiatives. And when we think about peer support, it can be, one-time support, like our services that we provide to our drop-in participants. And when we think about the longer term of peer support, it really goes beyond like reducing or eliminating symptoms, but really looking towards self-actualization, community engagement, civic engagement, and overall wellness. We want individuals to be a part of our community in a way that is positive and productive, where we all can be safe and thrive. And I think the variety of services that encompass peer support, I think specifically about the opioid crisis in our community and really across the country, there's quite a bit of stigma and challenges and barriers that individuals face. And I really believe that peer support is a really powerful solution to support these community members, but also support the community in navigating, the crisis that we're all facing. I also think that peers are just powerful examples of how our systems can work. They not only are examples, but they become partners in the work. I think our workforce in Jackson County are just examples of how successful systems working together can be. They provide inspiration, create momentum to our work. They also help our participants in all the ways that we've listed up so far, particularly in setting goals, increasing motivation and incentive for change, empowerment, and taking concrete steps, and having support in taking those concrete steps. We believe that peers are particularly powerful and impactful when they're embedded or integrated or collaborating with systems that are serving community members. Our goal is really to meet individuals right where they are at every point of the criminal justice system, the treatment continuum, and beyond. I love this graphic. I'm using it all over the place, but it just talks about how peers can be integrated at all of the different intercepts of the criminal justice system. So we see peers, doing community outreach, crisis response, co-responding in law enforcement situations, being a part of court and specialty courts, in jails, in prisons, in reentry, in community corrections, and beyond. So we really see ourselves most successful, like I said, when we're embedded, collaborating, and working collectively to support the individuals in our community.
Thanks, Leticia. Okay, so Leticia talked about a lot about our program as a whole. So some of our goals are to walk alongside justice-impacted individuals and their families and help them navigate all the different things that they go through. One of the things that's really important is to not just walk alongside them, but to help them build their individual resilience and recovery capital. I really had no idea what that meant when I first started working here. I was like, oh yeah, resilience. I'm resilient. You know, I made it through all these things and blah, blah, blah. But I really had no idea what all went into that. We work to remove barriers and increase access to addiction, recovery, and other supportive services. So like Leticia said, we're not just an independent program that's doing work all on our own. We're really in partnership and collaboration with all of our other community partners. So the A&D service providers, everyone within different parts of the justice system, with other peer providers. It's really important we use those relationships to make sure that people have access to the care that they want and that is going to work the best for them. We commit to provide wraparound, holistic, and responsive services and supports, centering our participants at each step of the way. I know when I first got into the field, I was like, yeah, it's only natural for me. I'm going to do this throughout, so FYI. To insert my own lived experience to it, I thought I was the biggest professional because I had navigated all the systems and I thought I knew what was going to work best for everyone. Actually, maybe not quick enough, but I did find out eventually that that's just not the case. Like I said, everyone has their own recovery journey, their own lived experiences and things that they have not only been through, but that they're currently navigating. And so we make sure that we're really responsive to the needs of the individual that's in front of us. All of our peer support specialists have lived experience in navigating not only systems, the justice system, but the DHS system, figuring out how to sign up for food stamps or treatment services, or maybe having a fallout with a treatment provider, and there might only be 2 options in the county. And if you want to get clean, we got to figure out how to work through those things. So helping rebuild and restore relationships. We also provide group peer support services, which can be really impactful when someone is not yet ready to enter into the formal treatment system for whatever reason. Either maybe they can't get on a schedule just yet. Maybe they haven't had success with building relationships with other people in the past. And so we really prioritize creating spaces where people can engage in groups of people prior to entering a formal treatment setting, so that can help contribute to their success once they do formally enter. We provide drop-in spaces where community members can access support on the spot. We utilize mobile peer support and outreach to deploy support where needed in the community. I don't know if you are, I think everyone, it's the local. We had a conversation, Tira and I did. So if you've been out driving around, you might have seen any number of our vehicles. We use those regularly, not just to take people to appointments, but to also go out to where they are. We know that sometimes people might not have the ability to come to us, so we are able to go to them. And I already said we provide services in Jackson, Marion, and Multnomah County. So here's a whole bullet point list of basically the things that I already talk about. One thing that I really want to talk about is referrals and resource support. We absolutely cannot do this work alone. We make regular and consistent referrals to all of our community partners. Sometimes we have people trying out 2 different places that might offer the same service at one time, so that we can make sure that they find the right fit for them. Our peers are out in the community building individualized relationships with our partners so that we can further reduce barriers and increase access to whatever care they need. We provide employment support and then basic needs assistance support. This is something that has been huge, absolutely instrumental to the work that we do. We talk about people needing to engage in services when they're involved in certain systems. They might have to go places and do things, and it's really challenging to, tell someone, hey, make sure that we make it across town, when that person might not have access to clothing or food or those basic needs that I rely on every single day. I think it'd be wild if I showed up here and no shoes. And Leticia was like, I don't care what you got to do. You got to make it there. I don't care if you have shoes or if you've eaten today or any of those things. So that's something that we really focus on, making sure that people are able to feel, you know, like human beings. That's something that's really important to us. We also have incentives that we utilize to reinforce positive interaction with not only our program, but other providers as well. And then we do peer support classes and groups, and then as always, my favorite, peer support activities and events. We host weekly activities out at the Transition Center with the Transitional Care Program and those folks that are on the transition side, which really help to, again, help them get more comfortable in connecting in groups and doing recovery-oriented activities and stuff that maybe they haven't been able to do in the past. Some of our peer support groups that we offer, they're cognitive, behavioral-based peer support groups. They're all facilitated by peers. There's some of the examples of the curriculum that we offer. They're not SUD-focused, but they do incorporate SUD components. It's extremely heartbreaking to see. I mean, it's not news to you. It's been going on for a number of years. And it's extremely heartbreaking to see what drugs have done and are currently doing to our community. And these classes, I'll just say again, I was going to be damned if I was going to attend a SUD treatment group. You know, if I'm currently using drugs, or when I was currently using drugs, I wasn't able to. I carried so much shame and guilt around not being a mom, not being a daughter, not being all these things, that I couldn't go to a class where we were just going to be talking about how my drug use had prevented me from being a mother to my son for the last 6 years. I couldn't do it. These classes do focus on those things, but they also focus on those other things, right? My behaviors, my motivations for change, my all those things. And they're really, really good entry or segue for people to be able to eventually access those services. They are helpful, they are needed, and this is like a perfect precursor to that. And Leticia, I can't remember what slide this is, so if I take yours, just let me know. Oh, CR2. Creating regulation and resilience. This is our communication model. It's an evidence-based trauma and resiliency informed communication model that enables professionals and helpers to not only take care of the people that we are working with, but to take care of ourselves as well. It helps us to interact with people who are involved in the justice system in a much more effective way. I know it's been super helpful for me in my own work. Like I said before, I always went in with this fixer mentality, and I already had a solution to everybody else's problem before it was even spoken out loud. This really helps us take a moment to focus, to listen to what people are saying, to ask questions, to gather more information in a different way. I was like, oh, cool, it's just a spin on motivational interviewing. It's absolutely not that. If you have more questions, I'll let you connect with Leticia. But it helps us to manage our own stress. So there's a little preview. There's 2 phases. The first one is focusing on hearing, and then the second phase is focusing on repair. So making sure that we're not trying to repair before we're actually hearing what's going on for the folks that we're working with. And this is a snapshot of some of our tools that we use. The first one that you see there is our resilience and recovery capital scale. This is used for our wraparound participants to give our peers that are working with them a really clear idea of what strengths people already possess when they come to us, and then the areas of focus for support. So we have people do this within their first or second interaction of being enrolled in our services, and that helps to shape their resilience and recovery action plan, which includes the individualized short-term goals, long-term goals, specific support people, and then services and strategies that we will use throughout. And then we have our cognitive behavioral tools that we use during our individual sessions and then outside of those sessions as well. And I'll kick it back to Leticia.
Tiffany, one of the things that we were really intentional about when we were designing the program, given that we started the program in collaboration with Jackson County Community Justice, is taking all of the information that parole and probation officers are collecting when they're doing risk assessments and just kind of assessing the person's unique and dynamic risk, needs, strength factors, and making sure that we're using that information and incorporate it into our plans. And because of that, needed to have a very cognitive behavioral focus in our work. So our peers are not only trained in creating regulation and resilience, which is going to help them to, work with individuals who experience a lot of trauma and just a lot of challenges in their life, to be able to get to a place where they can be more regulated and work through some of the skill building and long-term planning that's required for individuals to experience behavioral change in their life. So it's been a really powerful addition to our peer support model, and we've been able to see some pretty incredible impacts in terms of increasing motivation, seeing behavior change, and we're now almost 4 years into the program and have quite a few individuals on our staff who were previous participants who, talk about how important it was to not only have support, but to have that skill building, the action planning, walking step by step through the process so they could get to their end game, which was completing supervision successfully, being off supervision for the first time in their life, and then engaging meaningfully in the community through work and education and in other ways as well. So just wanted to lift that up. Just to give you kind of a snapshot of what we were able to accomplish last fiscal year. These are numbers that are kind of hot off the press. I don't even know if Tiffany's seen them all yet. We were pulling data just a few days ago, but last year we served 1,091 individuals, 266 with wraparound peer support. So that's where they're assigned to a designated peer support specialist. And on average, folks are staying on caseload for about 90 days. After they successfully complete wraparound services, they can stay on as a drop-in participant. We served 825 individuals with drop-in support. So that could be anything from one time coming into the resource center and saying, hey, I really need support getting access to benefits because I'm interested in, considering treatment, to dropping in 2 times a day in some of the locations, just because folks are really trying to develop plans and take action to get some positive outcomes for themselves. Overall, we provided over 10,000 hours of service, almost 9,000 interactions in our wraparound and drop-in peer support services. We had 102 successfully complete from wraparound services. Tiffany talked about that resilience and recovery capital scale that we use to assess progress and impact in our program. When we look at the outcomes from that assessment, 87% reported an increase in recovery capital, 80% reported an increase in resilience capital. And these are the strengths and assets and skills that any of us need to navigate the world in a way where we can meet our goals and be successful. So not just navigating supervision and successful, but hopefully leaving the criminal justice system, entering into recovery and having success in all the different areas of their life. Tiffany talked about some of the peer support classes that we offer. We delivered 85 classes last year, served 842 participants. We offer those classes in both closed and open format. And why that's important is because sometimes individuals, when they first sign up for services, they're not ready to complete a 20-session class yet. They just don't have enough stability factors in their life or their needs met enough to do that. So we offer groups where folks can just drop in for one day and get a resource or learn a skill that's going to be relevant to them in the moment. So that's been a really powerful way to make sure that individuals are getting both one-to-one peer support, but also group-based peer support, because we know the change process is relational, and we change and grow in relationships with others, particularly ones that are positive. We offered 5 peer support community events. We served over 200 participants in those events. Tiffany talked about the peer support activities that we offer at the Transition Center and with TCP participants. So we provided over 115 peer support activities, over 560 hours of activities. 1,482 external referrals made to different providers, all of the different community-based orgs in the county and the surrounding area that are also providing support to our participants. We provided 3,810 resources to our participants. A lot of those are delivered right across the hall from you in the Resource Center. And that's everything from getting people bus tickets, food, clothing, ID, signed up for medical care, getting individuals referred to different treatment providers or other kind of therapeutic services in the community. Just a whole host of different resources that folks need to be able to stop focusing on just the immediate of getting basic needs met and start looking at other areas of their life where they want to make change or progress. And then we offered over $130,000 in basic needs support directly. A good bulk of that is housing assistance and things like food and clothing. We offer a lot of resources for individuals who are looking for work. That might be a certification or a hard hat or a pair of boots, or any cost that might be associated with like getting an ID or the things that they're going to need to enter and maintain employment. And these are just some of the key outputs or outcomes that we wanted to share with you. There are so many different stories of impact and success that are embedded within these numbers. And you see just, photos of individuals who are a part of our community. Just really proud, of the work that we've been able to do to support individuals in the community and be a part of this larger system of care that exists in Jackson County and in the surrounding areas as well. One of the things that we're very excited about and have seen some just really almost immediate success is our expansion to provide peer support services to youth in Jackson County. So we're about a little over a year into a partnership with Juvenile Services to provide a few different peer support services to really, just expand the ability to get youth connected to resources that they need to navigate the juvenile justice system, to be successful with school and family and other things that are important to them. So we are providing after-school programming 4 days a week. We're also providing recovery support groups in detention and in the residential program, B2B, cognitive skills groups, both gender-neutral and gender-specific groups. And then just in April started providing wraparound condition-focused peer support for youth that are exiting B2B. And this last fiscal year, we were able to serve 206 youth. We provided 762 different after-school sessions to youth. We completed 11 cognitive behavioral skills groups, 48 recovery support groups, and started a caseload that quickly filled up with 8 youth who are in the process of or have transitioned from treatment. So just a quick highlight that we wanted to shout out, our work with adults is really important, and there are a lot of youth who are struggling with challenges with addiction and wanting to mitigate and hopefully prevent their entry into the adult system and get them some of the things that they need to be successful, including high fidelity evidence-based programs delivered by peer support specialists, which makes it in our really particularly impactful or potent. So I think, go for it, then we'll ask you.
So here's just a couple of stories about some participants who have engaged in our services. So I'll read one of them. The first one. So one participant who's worked with us for a while asked for help getting into a detox facility, then into residential treatment. 2 weeks after successfully completing residential treatment, this participant discovered they had a warrant. They were told they would be required to serve 15 days in jail. A peer worked collaboratively with the participant, the probation officer, and the recovery house, made phone calls to the jail and courthouse, and attended meetings with the participant at her recovery home. These collaborative conversations were important to ensure they would not lose her housing. Although it was a difficult situation to navigate, the participant felt supported, valued, and ready to turn herself in to make this their last time ever having to be incarcerated. It was a great success having had peer support to walk them through this. Having peer support to walk them through this, they felt empowered to make positive choices and is now done with the sanction and back to work. So we have tons of stories. These are just two that stand out. So with that, I'll end with a thank you to all of you. And then, just grateful to get to do this work together as a community.
Does anyone have questions? I just
want to say you heard Tiffany and Leticia mention the places that they are located, but we have them throughout community justice, and then they also have a place near Hawthorne Park. Do you want to talk about that?
Parkside? So we have what we call our drop-in peer support center. It is right across the street from Hawthorne Park. The address is 48 Hawthorne Street. That location is really, it's our only independent location, so not a collaborative space. We have been able to utilize that space for folks who sometimes just need a place to sit and to be, and maybe they have some difficult news to share with their probation officer or a family member or somebody, and we really have the opportunity to walk them through those conversations and provide them support without them having to be afraid or scared. It's a really beautiful space that's set up like a living room style. We were when I say we, I mean Leticia, and shout out to Jess Sandoval. She's absolutely amazing. They were very intentional when they were creating the space, from the things that we put on the walls to the way that the room is set up to the way that our offices all have windows. They're very accessible. And it's a place where people can just drop in. Sometimes people don't even want to have conversations with us at first, and that's okay. They can come in, they can get a cup of coffee, they can get water, they can maybe get a snack, and then after 10 minutes or an hour, they might be, ready to have a conversation with someone. It's a really amazing space. If anyone wants to drop by, that is where my office is located, and you're more than welcome to. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. there.
And people don't have to be on supervision.
They do not have to be on supervision, and we also offer classes at that location as well. So, thank you, Kiki. I'm still nervous. I thought it would go away 30 minutes later.
Okay, well, thanks. Was there any questions? Any questions from Zoom?
Are we done with PowerPoint?
Yes, we are. Thank you.
I have a question. How many peer support specialists do you have?
We currently have 14 peer support specialists. We have a team of 21 currently, and that includes 2 program managers, an admin team of 3, and then a lead peer support specialist, myself. I'm included in that.
Anyone else have questions? Great. Thanks so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Next, we have Stephanie Mendenhall, Executive Director and Founder of Reclaiming Lives.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I don't have a PowerPoint, so I'll entertain you with my stories, hopefully. So my name is Stephanie Mendenhall. I am the Executive Director and Founder of Reclaiming Lives. And Reclaiming Lives is really a nonprofit that was started out of a relationship that my husband and I built with a girl who was 25 and experiencing homelessness and addicted to opiates. A friend of mine texted me pretty late at night and said, "Hey, I met this girl at Wendy's. She's really struggling. Will you meet with her?" And I had never really sat across from anybody who had struggles with addiction, but I knew a lot about it because of my 22-year career at Jackson County. So I worked for Jackson County Health and Human Services from the time I was 25 until I was 47. So now you know how old I am. Anyway, my job was very administrative at Jackson County. So I got people in a room and I helped coordinate big events and focus groups and committees, and many of you know me from that work. Very background, I never wanted to stand in front of people and make speeches. So this girl was struggling, and I said, yes, send her to my office and I will meet with her. And at the time I was in the new building on Holly Street, and my career, I went from administrative assistant and then worked up into a management position, and so I managed some frontline staff there. And she came in, her name was Patty, and she had this 90-pound pit bull and a skateboard. And I had her come in my office and sit down, and she explained that she had been in a high-speed chase on I-5 with her brother who had warrants. And she didn't know that, and it ended up in the woods of Gold Hill, and she got cited for possession, and he went to jail. And she was pretty traumatized by that arrest and was not excited about going to court and didn't know how all that was going to go, of course. And so I gave her my phone number that day, and I said, hey, if there's anything I could do to help you, please let me know. And I wasn't sure how that would go. I didn't know if she would hit me up for money or if she'd contact me all the time or how that would look, but I gave her my number. And she would send me songs. And I wasn't expecting that really, but I could kind of tell and gauge where she was at with things by what songs she would send. And that was kind of her way, I think, of building a rapport with us and kind of letting us in a little bit without having to divulge too much. At that time, our sons were a senior and a freshman in high school. And so she would come to dinner sometimes at our house, and she was still actively using. That was not a great idea, but we did it. And she would always sit at the island in our kitchen, and she would never put her hood down, and she would always wear her shoes and her coat. And she would come though, and she would talk to me about certain things occasionally, and she would find places where she could stay, and I would just take her to these different locations. And I remember one day I walked in, and I think I had the dog on a leash. It was somebody her mom knew or something, and the guy looks at me and he's like, why isn't she at your house? And I'm like, it's complicated. I'll be back at 8. And I just gave him the dog and left. But over the course of 4 months at the end of 2015, we just built a strong relationship with this girl who really had no one. Every story she told was about addiction, and every person in her life was addicted. And so in January of 2016, she decided to go to detox, and when she got the form to fill out, it asks where you will go when you get out. And she didn't have a place. And so my husband happened to have 6 weeks between jobs, and we told her to write down her address. And so she moved into this closet that we have in our house. It's very Harry Potter-ish, if you. And she wanted to be in that closet, and we put a twin mattress in there, and our boys had their own rooms, and we started this grand adventure. And it's kind of in the context of, if you want to learn Spanish, go to a foreign country. Like, we learned a lot about addiction and what it looks like to stay clean and how hard it is. And if you haven't recognized by now, our family doesn't struggle with addiction, so this was a big leap for us. But this girl really needed somebody to love and care about her. And so I had no intention of starting a nonprofit. I had a beautiful job at Jackson County, and I would have sat in that chair for 30 years and got my retirement. I have a PERS Tier 1 retirement and all the things. But that was not the plan for me. And so in 2017, I got laid off with 240 other people when the CCOs came to be in our community with the $8 million shortfall that Jackson County experienced. And so I knew, because I had helped Patty and 65 of her other friends with their addiction. I wrote a list one time, that's how I know it was 65. But a lot of people came through our home. A lot of people just needed somebody to listen to them. A lot of people just really wanted a safe place where they could be with other people, and we provided that. And so when I found out that I was getting laid off, I made the decision to take 6 months unemployment and write the business plan for our nonprofit called Reclaiming Lives. And the mission statement of Reclaiming Lives is to provide hope and stability to those who struggle with drug and alcohol addiction through recovery planning and long-term support, emphasis on long-term, in a place where everyone is loved and accepted. And at the same time that I was really dreaming about this nonprofit, somebody mentioned to me that there was such a thing called Recovery Cafe. And I had never heard of it, and so I went and looked online, and it was really cool. It was like a coffee shop where people could come in recovery and all be together. And so Patty, our girl that came to live with us, and my older son, Matthew, who just graduated college, I'm so proud of him, and my husband and I went to Seattle to visit the original Recovery Cafe. And at that time, they had been in existence for 17 years. And I remember walking in the door there and just really being amazed at how awesome it felt. It was like you couldn't tell who the employees, the volunteers, and the people who were struggling were. And I loved that. It wasn't like we're here to help you. It was just everybody was in community together, just really being people. And that day, the founder met with us and told a story about how there was a woman who couldn't be in the space that day. And well, they asked her, they saw this woman in the flower beds outside the building. And they said, hey, what's going on with you? She had her hands on the building on the outside. And they said, what's going on with you? And she said, I can't be in this space today because I relapsed, but I really just want to feel the love in this place. And it really impacted me. I thought, wow, if we could create a space where people feel this kind of love, our community would be completely changed. And so I came back and I got a couple of jobs outside of the county and worked 2 more years full time and really tried everything I could to raise the money to get the doors open for Recovery Cafe. And in June of 2019, with the support of All Care and Jackson Care Connect, we were able to open with 5 recovery circles and 45 people. And everyone who helped us launch were all volunteers. No one was paid at that time, including me. And we didn't know how it would go, but we were excited to give it a try. And today, Recovery Cafe has 26 recovery circles and 285 people who come every week. So it has really just grown huge. Last night we had 68 people in there. We can seat 68. It was a very big crowd. Lots of babies in there last night, which is fun and an interesting barrier. But we have just learned to love every person who walks through the door, and it's really, that is our mission, is to love and accept people. Tony and I are not peer support providers. We don't lead circles, we don't provide peer support, but we do every newcomer orientation session that happens. And so we set the tone for our organization by reflecting the love that we had for Patty into our community to the others that come in the door. So, sorry, I'm gonna get a little bit emotional. Two years after we opened, I'm sorry, Rico Gutierrez came to me and said, he was a circle leader for us, and he said, Steph, we really need something for our community, for our Latino community. And I was like, okay, what are you thinking? And he said, I don't know, but like, I just know that my people need a place. And so I said, yeah, let's put together a committee. And so I had a couple of staff members from Jackson County that I brought on board, and one of your employees, or actually ARC's employees, Jasmine, came and helped out. And it was just a beautiful group of 5 people who sat around and talked about what could this look like. And so in April of 2021, I believe, we launched what's called El Camino Seguro, which in Spanish means the safe path. And it's a culturally specific program for those who speak Spanish. Every Thursday night, we hold recovery circles and host dinner for those folks that come. And it's been so awesome to see them walk in and feel safe right away, knowing that there's people who look and sound just like them. It's hard enough to go into an organization and seek assistance for your addiction or criminality or all of the things. But when you can go in and actually see people that look like you, it makes a huge difference. So for those of you who don't know, Rico Gutierrez passed away on June 30th, which is why I'm emotional. And we recently attended the National Convention for Recovery Cafe Network. There are 65 cafes across the nation, and they held a conference this year. And at the conference, we received the award for radical hospitality and inclusion, and it was really based on the work that Rico and I did together for El Camino and also for our LGBT community. So, on the El Camino side, we serve probably about 30 people in that range. We run 3 circles, 2 men's, one women's. And in the last 3 weeks, we've had a lot of new women come, and women are so hard to reach. We've tried everything. It's just really hard to impact them. And so we have a circle of 7 women now that come on Thursdays. And then we also started the first Al-Anon meeting in Spanish in the Valley, and so family members come at the same time. One of the things that we found is that a lot of the men would not come unless their sister or their mom was with them, and so we created a space for them to be a part of what was going on there as a family member in the Al-Anon community, which has been really beautiful. Let's see. Recovery Cafe in Medford, like I said, there are 65 of them across the nation, so this is a model that we adopted. But I really try to adhere as much to the guidelines that they put forth as possible. They're 22 years in existence now, but the core of what we do is a recovery circle. And so people come and it's a membership, so they sign up to attend a recovery circle. It's not a drop-in. There is no curriculum. Every circle leader leads the circle differently. They all have 2 years clean, and they all have been to the 40-hour peer support training. So when the commitment is made, you're basically committing to meet for 1 hour every week with 10 other people who are in recovery from drug and alcohol addiction. They sit in rooms that look like living rooms. All of our offices are living rooms set up. We run 7 to 8 circles at a time, so we do a full dinner 4 nights a week, and we have an amazing chef. She's really good at what she does, and then we serve dinner, and then they break out into their recovery circles, and Tony and I do the newcomer orientation. We orient about 45 new people a month, and then there's a disenrollment process if people don't engage, or after 3 weeks we don't see them. But it's really been amazing to me to see, we have 21 people who basically have been there over 2 years, coming every week for over 2 years. And then we have a number of folks who've been with us from the beginning, so 4 years strong. And what we love to do is raise up leaders. So once you've been coming for a while and you get to your 2-year mark, then we help you go to the peer support training and become a circle leader yourself. So 16 of our circles are led by community members who volunteer their time. We do pay them a small stipend. And the rest are led by our staff. Many of our volunteer circle leaders work in other organizations in the community. We're really proud of raising them up in their recovery, getting them, eligible to lead a circle, and then they go out into the workforce and become peers. So it's really cool giving back in that way. Recovery Cafe has 3 requirements. The first is that people be drug and alcohol free in the space. There's no timeline on that. We just ask them not to be intoxicated in any way when they come in. And so if they look like, smell like, we just say politely, quietly, hey, come back and see us, see a peer tomorrow. We'd love to help you create a plan, anything we can do, get you into detox, whatever we need to do. The second thing is to commit to the recovery circle. So they sign up, they choose a circle, they attend. We have what they call affinity circles. Not every cafe has affinity circles, but that just means that they can choose from co-ed, men's, women's, LGBTQ. We have a veteran circle and a rock court circle. And so all of those kind of create a safe landing for folks that are in different walks of life. The third commitment or expectation is that people give back to the cafe community. So we have them volunteer in different ways, whether it's serving food or cleaning up or, doing tabling events or wherever they can interact. And we do some volunteering for other nonprofit programs as well. And then we have something called the School of Recovery. Every cafe has a School of Recovery. Really, that's just a name that they put on our classes and activities. And so we have a full-time counselor, John Boehm, who does one-on-ones. He also leads a class every day. Monday is relapse prevention. Tuesday is what we call Beyond Recovery or Recovery Capital focused, building skills. Wednesday is healthy relationships. That usually gets people's attention. And then we tell them it's about being healthy yourself so you can be in a relationship. And then Thursday is stress or self-esteem, and Friday is stress reduction. So all of those classes are going on. We encourage people to get involved on that level too. It does really enhance the experience. And then we do a lot of sober social events and activities. This coming Saturday, you can all be thinking of us about 11:30. We're going to take 100 people down the road. If you're going down the road, beware. So we took 68 people last year, and we've really grown. So we'll see how many we can get up there. But we raft from the fish hatchery down to Dodge Bridge. So we're excited about that. It'll be a good time. This is our third annual, I think, third or fourth annual. So people love it. It's really cool. We'll be in the bus, taking the ride up to the drop-off point, and people are very nervous, and they'll be like, I've never been in a boat before, or I've never done anything like this sober. So it's really cool to give them an experience that they wouldn't normally have. We have a couple of new programs that we are launching or starting. So in the beginning, when I started thinking about, how I wanted this to go, Recovery Cafe took up so much of our time because it is a big launch and there's a lot to it, and getting it off the ground with it being a food program and all the things and the mentoring. But my heart in the beginning was really to have a peer support program that was directed to the person, meaning it's not attached to any service. A lot of providers, and it's great that they do, they're attached to treatment, or the peer is attached to, some kind of housing, and then once those things are fulfilled, then that person doesn't really interact with their peer anymore. And so I think we're a little bit unique in that the peers are long-term and they're just for the person. So yes, we have an alcohol and drug component for sure, but really we're helping them as long as they need it. Just that really cohesive, I can come back anytime, even if I've relapsed, there's no shame. We welcome people back with open arms. So we just leased some new space in the building that we're currently occupying. Whenever something comes up downtown, in our block, we try to snap that up with the growth that we're having. But we're looking to put together a recovery, like a peer support hub, if you will. And so Brandon Orr, who I would have made come here and stand in front of y'all, is on vacation today, so he's off the hook. But I hired him as my first employee before I hired myself, and some of you know him, but Brandon started using when he was very young and was 28 years in his addiction, overdosed 7 times, and now has 7 years clean. And he's an amazing example to so many people about, what's possible out there. And I love his heart and how he treats every person who walks through the door. So Brandon is going to be our program manager for all things peer support and heading up the project that we're starting with Community Justice, the Jail and Transition Center. And then Ricky France, we recently hired, is going to be managing Recovery Cafe. We are putting together an offer for another peer this week, and so that will give us 5 peers. We're very small still, 5 years in, but we have the ability to have 5 peers at both sites. And then also our CADC's Ricky is a CADC-R, and so he can hold some of that work as well. And then John, our counselor. So let's see. The Jail and Transition Center project, I had the opportunity to go and talk with Tommy and the CJOs last week, I think the week before last. And it was great being in space with our other partners out there as well. But we talked about how when our peers come into the site, it will probably look a lot like playing cards and basketball and cornhole and all the things, because we are a very relationship-focused program. And so everything we do is in building rapport with people, and we recognize that the end game of that is when they are in crisis, or when they are ready for different help, or when they are struggling, they come back to that person that made that personal connection to them or with them. So we will be going out 10 hours a week or something to start and see how it all rolls out. But we're really excited about this new endeavor. I'm hoping to maybe get involved in some of the conversations around deflection. I think that piece of work is going to be really interesting and exciting. And so the more that we can grow our peer support model, the peer hub will be a place where people can go regardless of their clean time. Cafe is really recovery focused. So come if you're interested in building your recovery, and this will be more of a place where people can come even if they're still using actively, or, in that early stages of change, or just need a place and someone to talk to. I put together, I don't know if anybody here was at the Chamber Forum when I spoke. I'm sure Rick was probably there and a few others. I feel like this, it's not that I think I know a lot, but I have been in front of a lot of people who are actively using. So in the last 5 years, Brandon and I, especially in the beginning, sat in front of over 1,000 people. And so it's like when you have these conversations over time, you kind of know like what people are thinking. And I've tried to continue to have like the newcomers circle that Tony and I do and all that same interaction as we move forward. I can't quite do as much as I would want because I have such an admin focus now, but there are some thoughts and ideas that I've collected over the last 5 years and 9 years really of doing this work that I'd like to share with people. So they're just kind of statements, but it does kind of make you think about what you believe or, how we might as a community do things differently to support people. So here's my list. Take it or leave it. Only you can reclaim your life. No one else can do it for you. At its core, substance use disorder is self-harm. Trauma, guilt, and shame drive addiction. We need pathways to treatment over penalties or jail time. The person experiencing SUD needs to be given the opportunity to choose their recovery pathway. We all need to be held accountable at times. Many of our people have said jail and prison saved my life. People do not get well in isolation. They need healthy connections and long-term support in a place where they belong, feel safe, can grow, and inspire others. Having someone walk alongside you who's been there is extremely effective. Peer support works. Address trauma at a younger age. Provide mental health services for kids and teens before they turn to substances. A community that understands addiction and values all people could really help address the crisis that we're in. Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions? Mayor?
I don't have a question. I have lots of comments. So. You guys are all used to that by now, right? Stephanie, you guys are doing fantastic, amazing work. I knew Brandon back when, and he is doing awesome. And when I saw him the first time after I became mayor, I was throwing out the first pitch at a recovery event. I was like, "Who is that guy?" And he goes, "Hey, it's Brandon." What? So thank you for what you do. It's amazing, and you're right. Everything you just said, your closing arguments were fantastic. Tiffany, you said you were nervous. You did an incredible job. You could not tell you were nervous, and I'm a nervous public speaker, so I always like to give people praise when they do a fantastic job. So you did an excellent job, and I'm one of those guys that stands behind the podium, and it's my height. So that's all I had to say. I think you guys did great, and it's awesome that we have you as part of the solution, because that's what this is all about, is making Jackson County a better place to live. So thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to say, I hope you're okay with me talking about you. So I knew Tiffany when she was first clean, and someone who was very special in my life, she was her sponsor, and I would say to this girl, "What does your sponsor say?" And every time she would tell me what Tiffany said, I was like, yes, this girl is so wise. Like, I'm just so impressed with her. I even called her or texted her. I'm like, I just have to tell you, you are so wise. And now just to see the growth that she's had, and she did a podcast for us. So if you ever want to look it up, we're on all the platforms. It's Survivors of Addiction, but Tiffany told about her story. And if you guys knew the life change that this woman has had, it is so beautiful to work in these circles with people who just want to give back. But their personal life change is just enormous. Like, I had every advantage. It's easy in a way for me to go into these places, but for them, like, it's just such a beautiful story. So thank you for what you do.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
Just want to say, so Stephanie talked about Patty. I represented Patty, and when she first came into my office and we talked about kind of who she had she was pretty young still. who she had that could support her. And she had Stephanie, and Stephanie, I think the next time, came in for an appointment. Patty would come in with her dog and her skateboard. And that was always what it was. But Stephanie was there always, and those are the people like make the difference, I think, in making changes. And clearly that's what it was. And I remember when you're getting this started and everything too, like years ago, after the loss of funds and all that too.
Patty is doing really good. I always forget to tell the end of the Patty story. So she lived in our home for 5 years on and off, and she definitely relapsed over and over. So it wasn't like the Mendenhalls had a magic bullet. I wish. Those were rough times for us. She finally moved out 2.5 years ago, and she has a year coming up in November. Super proud of her. She graduated a year-long program where she gave up everything to focus on herself, and that was a choice she made. But she's now working as a lead teacher in a child care center in Washington and just like fulfilling every hope that she had for herself. And she's a completely different person, and I'm so proud of her. It's really beautiful. So thank you.
I just wanted to also talk a little bit about peers. I've been in this business a long time, 33 years this year. And this is the part of the system that we haven't had for people going through recovery. This is the part of the system that we just didn't pay attention to or listen to. And so I think that peers are really helping put this puzzle together on what we can do as a community to help people recover and get better. I'm really excited that Jackson County Community Justice specifically has partnered with the Pathfinder Network before I got here, and we continue. And our new relationship with Reclaiming Lives as we move forward, both at Adult Services and the Transition Center and our jail resource recovery program that we're starting. Without the peers, we have a large hole, and this is really, like I said, a great piece of the puzzle. So I think this is incredible. I'm super proud of this community for recognizing the value of peers, and hope that we can continue to find ways to support with funding so that peers can continue independently of treatment programs. They're important at treatment programs as well, but neither one of these programs are tied to like a SUD program, and so they're looking for funding in many, many different ways, and that's where our Justice Reinvestment Program dollars have really helped lift up peers in our community. So thank you guys, really. It's incredible to watch the work and to hear the work within our field and the things we do each day. So, does anyone else have any questions or comments? Anyone on Zoom? Awesome. Well, the best meeting, I always say, are the meetings that get out early. So thank you so much and appreciate your time. Please check in or sign in if you haven't, and we'll see you next month.